Welcome back, my friends, to Centuria. We're picking up right where we left off on Chapter 12, and a brief recap for anyone just now tuning in. Hello, my name is Whis. Thank you for stopping by. I'm your host as we read through Centuria and catch up to Chapter 85 as of the time I'm recording. I hope you're having a lovely day, and if I didn't say it already, thanks for stopping by. We just met this young man named Arcos, who's an heir of the king of the nation, meaning he has royal blood. And he also has the ability to control water down to the molecular level by bending flesh and plasma at his will. And he said himself that human beings are nothing but water-filled sacks to him, essentially toys for him to manipulate and play with. And now he's about to visit the village where Julian, Angval, and Titi visit frequently. And the story is heavily foreshadowing a fated showdown between marking bearers. Julian versus Arcos looms in the distance. Drop a follow for more Centuria content, and let's dive right in. We begin this chapter inside Julian and family's home, where TT plays with a standing Diana, and Julian watches on with a smile. Oh look, if you stand her up, she can walk. Diana, you're so amazing, you're already 1 year old, TT says with a wide smile on her face. The opening tagline reads, These peaceful times tell the story of their growth. TT turns to Julian, asking, By the way, Julian, how old are you? And Julian replies, I'm not sure. I think 13 or 14, maybe 15? I'm actually not sure when my birthday is, so I really can't say. TT responds, Really? Then let's celebrate your birthday together with Diana's first birthday. Right, Angval? Doesn't that sound like a great idea? Angval responds, Yeah. Plus, by reporting the forest anomaly, it seems like I'll receive quite the reward. So let's throw a special celebration for 2 birthdays tonight. TT exclaims, Yippee! Julian says, It'll be my very first birthday celebration. TT beams from ear to ear. You must be excited, Julian. Yeah. Okay, we gotta start preparing. Julian, let's go to the shore. We've got some fish to catch. Angval announces, I'm going to head out and meet with Prophetess Elstree. Julian, at around noon, the prophetess will come to ask about what happened in the forest. I'd like for you to cooperate. Julian nods. Sure thing. Now Julian and TT, holding Diana, make their way out to the beach to catch fish. The radiant sun's fires cast themselves upon the ocean waters, creating a sparkling glow behind TT as she stands near the water's edge. Look, Diana, it's the sea. Julian walks toward them, dragging a full sack of freshly caught fish behind him. TT says, The sunrise. It's beautiful, isn't it? And Julian turns to look at her. And then we get this super artistic close-up of TT and Diana in front of the sunrise. Now, I've praised the artwork in some of Centuria's frames and panels multiple times now across these videos, and I can't help but admire the level of thought and artistic talent put into these drawings each and every single time. This is a beautiful panel right here. Now Julian thinks to himself, I feel like I'm dreaming. Every day is peaceful. I live a modest, blessed, humble life along with my family. It's been so calm lately, too calm. Julian smiles as he observes TT in the sea behind her. I've started thinking that this happiness might just continue forever. TT looks off into the waters, eyeing the approaching clouds. Oh, but I see some clouds in the distance. It might rain tonight. Julian, don't do this to me, bro. Why would you say that? Who's gonna tell him, guys? Who's gonna tell our boy that that is the last possible thing he should be saying at a time like this? He doesn't even know that Arcos is about to pull up. He hasn't seen what that boy is capable of yet. He doesn't know. Why, Julian? Why would you say that, dude? When has something ever come good from jinxing yourself like that? Plus, TT said it might rain tonight. Rain as opposed to the sunny, warm, and happy life, the vibe that they've been living so far. Kuramori-san, don't play with me like this. I'm not ready for it, dude. I'm not ready for it. You can't do this to me this early. Now we cut away to a cabin in the village where Elstree is looking over a stack of paperwork, and Angval stands close behind. Elstree says, I will need all witnesses to recall the events in the forest in as much detail as possible. How the entities waged their attack, what forms they took for starters. After hearing their testimonies, I'll assess myself if these beings aim to kill the king, as well as their relevancy to the prophecy. After that, we shall conduct an investigation of the woods. She signals to Engvall. Now then, call in the witnesses one by one. Engvall answers, Understood. Joseph is the first to share his testimony. It was a gigantic beast. It had multiple heads and could understand human speech. Elstree asks, And did this monster speak or behave in any specific way? Joseph answers, It definitely had a deliberate urge to kill every single one of us back there. That's all I know. After that, a monster in the form of a human appeared. And he's referring to the Ent warrior that Julian battled right after the Chimera died. Next we get the goat, Joseph Sr.'s witness account, and it follows it like this. Everything in the woods turned against us. Insects and beasts alike. It's as if the entire forest had a will and wanted to kill us. And Elstree questions, Why do you think these monsters ambushed you? Joseph Sr. replies, Who's to say? But it was clear that all of them monsters had an objective clear to them, not so clear to us. And Elstree thinks to herself, So far it doesn't seem like this is related to the king's death. And why would they attack the villagers? It's as I thought. I'll have to witness this with my own eyes. Engvall calls for Julian to give his account next. Julian, come inside. He responds, Okay. And as he approaches the room where Elstree resides, the aura inside the room begins to shift. Elstree senses it immediately. This feeling, what is this? The atmosphere just changed. It's suffocating. Something's not right. There's a certain darkness, a deep, all-consuming darkness. We see a black cloud surrounding Julian as water begins to seep through the doorway. Julian's figure approaching the room with audible splash noises that can only be heard in the darkened doorway. Wait, stop! Elstree thinks to herself. What is this dreadful aura? Julian turns the corner and we're shown this incredibly drawn spread of Julian, blessed with the gift of the sea, tentacles sprawling in all different directions as his eyes glow. We also see the goat creature up here from chapter 3 make a reappearance, walking alongside Julian's oceanic avatar. And I'll talk more about that later. But another plus 10,000 aura points to Julian. Let's take a second once again to just appreciate Kuramori-san's artwork. The detail, the aura, the way he uses these panels to highlight the feelings, the plot twists, the hype moments in the story, and being able to distribute that ability evenly among each category at a steady pace. It's just masterful work. I can't express enough gratitude to Kuramori-san for making this manga. Thank you so much. Now, Elstree screams and stands up abruptly as we cut away back to reality, where Julian is only holding Diana in his arms, innocently. No goat, no ocean avatar to be found. Confused by Elstree's sudden outburst, sweat beads down her face as she struggles to catch her breath, and she thinks to herself, how could I have misinterpreted the details of the prophecy so greatly? What on earth did I misunderstand? Engvall interrupts her thoughts with a firm hand on her shoulder. Prophetess Elstree, are you all right? And Elstree begins to completely crash out here, completely and thoroughly, screaming at the top of her lungs. What is the meaning of this? I don't understand. She points a hysteric finger at Julian and Diana. It's you, harbinger of the king's downfall, the darkness that will engulf the world in flames. You are the one that will bring night upon the land, the sworn enemy of this country. And Engvall replies, shocked. Julian? Are you kidding me? Julian pipes up, concerned. Engvall, what's going on? Engvall grits her teeth before snapping at Elstree with frustration, hurt, and protective anger in her voice. No, you're wrong! How could you say that? There's no way that this boy would ever kill his majesty. He has not one reason to do such a thing. He has nothing to do with the prophecy. And Elstree's harrowing gaze turns to Engvall. What are you talking about? That young boy is no more than a victim of fate's whims. The real predator is that baby he's carrying. Julian exclaims in disbelief. What? And Elstree grimaces. How repulsive. She shall spread death and plague simply by existing. She is the successor of an ancient and destructive soul. Julian growls angrily. What the hell are you trying to say? Mira sacrificed her life to give birth to her. She was born to find love where we couldn't. Don't you dare joke about that. I won't forgive you. Elstree responds, what could I possibly stand to gain from making jests about this crisis? We must kill her while she's still a baby. As she grows, it will become harder to do so. Elstree extends her hand forward, issuing a command. Knight Angval, as the king's representative, I order you to kill that baby at once. The chapter ends with both Julian and Angval with horrified expressions on their faces, as Julian monologues to himself silently. It's been so calm lately. I thought that this happiness would last forever. We see Diana happily reaching out for Angval as she approaches, and the closing tagline reads, a merciless command directed at innocent eyes. What a cruel twist of fate. Somehow, each chapter just manages to get better and better as we read along this series. We now have a definitive plot in motion, with Elstree representing the king ordering Angval to slay Diana in order to prevent his demise, the so-called tragedy that Elstree has predicted. And once again, Diana plays a larger role than us readers can fully grasp yet. We saw it first with the Leviathan and Chimera creatures, who both actively targeted Julian and Diana, not just Julian, Diana too. Now we see that Elstree is ordering her execution, and I believe it all ties back to this goat entity we're seeing for the second time in the series now. It only seems to be present whenever Diana is, as we saw in its first appearance. Diana was the only person who could see this thing, because when Julian looked, if you'll remember, nothing was there whatsoever. Elstree is now also able to sense this beast when it walked in alongside the sea goddess's manifestation within Julian when she perceived the aura change in the room. And Elstree specifically said that Julian was just a victim of fate's whims, pinning the blame solely on Diana. Now, I will admit that I initially saw no correlation between the goat beast and the forest/ocean monsters. I didn't think they were connected due to only Diana being able to perceive this beast, whereas the others, like the Chimera, were visible to everybody. But I see a definite connection between them now, especially with Elstree's words of Diana harboring an ancient and destructive soul within her. The most similar exhibit we've seen as far as destructive souls go would be the forest goddess, where its malice alone was enough to induce a hallucination into Julian's mind of him getting hacked into literal pieces by it. And if we assume that these destructive souls are on the same level, then my best guess is that this goat creature is some sort of fallen god or goddess from the same realm as the goddesses of sea and forest that attached itself onto Diana at birth. Now, what the conditions are for it gluing itself to Diana remain unknown, but we can at least say that Elstree is familiar with it, and by association, the king is also most likely familiar with it. Therefore, if we follow that theory of this goat beast being a fallen god or goddess, and both Elstree and the king being familiar with it, chances are that the king either defeated this thing or knows who defeated it before, and this is just its attempt at making a comeback. But again, that's all just speculation and theorizing. I want you guys to be sure to leave me your thoughts and theories down in the comments below as well. And guys, like the video if you think Julian jinxed himself, because seriously, bro, what did you expect to happen when you said, well, surely this happiness is going to last forever? Bro, come on. TD's not going to be happy because that rain is going to come sooner than she expects. And judging from Angval and Julian's current predicament, this rain just might become a typhoon. So comment down below with how you like this chapter. I personally loved it. I thought it was one of the best we've had yet. And again, I appreciate how good Kudamori-san is at outdoing himself at each chapter around every corner. Lastly, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all and have a wonderful day.